Hi guys, my pregnancy and my labor and delivery with the 31 weeker. So yeah guys, so I had a 31 weeker. My son, he's 9 now. He was born 31 weeks. It all started when, I found out I was pregnant. When I found out I was already 12 weeks, 3 months. I was already really far along, and I had an idea I was pregnant, but I just never went to the clinic to confirm it until I did, which was 12 weeks. So I found out I was pregnant. We were happy. He was planned. He was a planned baby. I started my birth control, and thank goodness. So yeah, I found out he was 12 weeks. Everything looked good. I was pregnant. I got my vitamins. I would take them every day. Yeah, when I was like 20 weeks, I would go to the doctor, ultrasounds, and bad news, guys. He was always underweight. Doctor would tell me that I wasn't eating enough protein because the baby wasn't measuring what he was supposed to measure. He would measure less and weight less. And that did make me feel kind of guilty because I wouldn't get hungry. I wouldn't have like a big appetite. So I do take blame for that sometimes, but you know, it's all in God's plans. Yeah, so you know, I would go to the appointments. Bad news, I up until 31 weeks when I gave birth to him. It was really bad, guys. So there's one time I went with my husband. We went, and the doctor talked to both of us, and she asked us if we wanted to have an abortion because it was 60% chance that the baby was gonna have Down syndrome or something wrong with him. Because they wanted to do the test, the one that goes like through your belly button, and I think like they take away some kind of liquid from the baby or from the placenta or something like that. So of course I didn't want that. So we didn't end up doing that. We rejected. We said no, we don't want to do any of that. We don't want to have the test done. I don't want to have an abortion. I'm gonna have my baby however my baby comes. Yeah, so I was, you know, going to my appointments. Once I started going to my appointments, I think it was once a week. My very first appointment, in the hospital, because they were already gonna schedule me to appointments once a week in the hospital. So the first time that I went, told me that my blood pressure was very high, and they asked me, "Are you sure you don't like? How can you not feel bad? Like, it's really high. You should be, I don't know, vomiting, headache, and everything." They wanted me to stay to monitor me, and I was like, "No, I can't. I have to get home. I have things to do. I feel good. There's nothing wrong with me, right?" I decided to leave, guys. I left, and they made me sign a waiver. Saying that if anything were to happen to me, it was my decision to leave the hospital because they recommended and they wanted me to stay. But I said no. I gotta go. So from there, my sister picked me up. So we went to eat. And while we were eating, I let her know what happened. I was like, "Look at what they told me. They said that my blood pressure was so high. They didn't even want to let me go. They made me sign a waiver." So right away, she was already like, "You're crazy. I'm taking you back. You need to go back. They know what they're telling you." And I was like, "No, but I need to go to work tomorrow. I can't stay. They're going to want me to stay." I already kind of had an idea, I guess. She was like, "No. Eat right now," she said, "because I'm pretty sure that when you go back, if they keep you there, you're not going to be able to eat anymore. So eat, and then I'm going to take you back." So that's what happened. I ate. She took me back, and I stayed there. I stayed. It was on a Wednesday. I stayed there Wednesday. They monitored me for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Friday was when they decided to induce me, right? So I can have like a natural birth. So they went ahead, they did that. Of course, I was not dilating. It was very, very slow. And my blood pressure was high still. And they were not able to lower it. So since they couldn't lower it, they said that it was very they said that it was very dangerous for my baby because, you know, high blood pressure and I guess suffocating him inside. I'm not exactly sure, but I knew it was bad because, okay, so they induced me and I was dilating very slowly, contractions almost nothing. I was only able to tell that I was having a contraction because of the monitor, the screen. So whenever I would, we would like see the contraction, his heart rate will go down. And I didn't even feel any pain at all. And I was having a contraction. So and his heart rate will go down. So that's when I knew, I'm like, oh shit, like it's serious, like. And I started crying. I didn't want that. When you have one C-section, most likely you're gonna have your rest of your children C-sections, and you're only allowed to have 3 C-sections. So that means that I had to count my children, you know what I mean? And I always wanted more babies. I always wanted 4 or 5 babies. So I was like, no, if I have a C-section now, I'm only gonna be able to have 3. I know me, I was 21 guys. So that was my thought, right? That's why I didn't want a C-section. But then my husband, like, look at what's happening, like, come on, like, just look at what's happening. You need to have an emergency C-section because the baby is not okay right now. Your blood pressure is not lowering, and you're induced right now, and you're not dilating, and you know your contractions are hurting the baby basically. And I was like, okay, well, if I have to do it, then I'll do it. I signed the papers, and then emergency C-section, guys. I don't know. And then yeah, they sewed me back up. I was no pain. I was like shivering, and I felt cold, and I felt like I wasn't getting enough oxygen. I had the oxygen mask, and I felt like it wasn't enough. I kept telling my husband, tell them to give me more oxygen. I feel like I can't breathe. And then he was like, it's everything. It's 100. And I was like, okay, so then it's just me, right? So I remember that when my son was born, they put him right next to me, right? Like, he was so tiny. If I have pictures, I will insert them at the end. He was so tiny, and all I heard, instead of a cry, I heard a meow. I swear. He was little. He was really little. He didn't make it to 2 pounds. He was 1 pound 15 ounces, so he really was a small baby. But all I heard was meow, and I'm like, so yeah, so I was like, okay, as long as he's okay, right? So, and guess what, guys? He was born on 4/20. And he was named after Bob Marley. Bob Marley's real name. If you guys don't know it, look for it. So yeah, so I had my baby, and of course all preemies need to stay in the incubator, right? Luckily my baby didn't need the tubing, the oxygen. He didn't need that. He was breathing on his own, thank God. And he did have to stay in the NICU for quite a while. Okay, so he stayed in the NICU. Everything was going fine. I would get good news, you know, like all I was waiting for was for him to weigh 4 pounds, because I think after 4 pounds they could be discharged. So yeah, so all we were waiting for was for him to hit 4 pounds, and it seemed like forever. Because he wasn't even 2 pounds. So for a baby, I think they're born and then they still lose some weight and then they start gaining. I think that's how it goes. So yeah, so you know, so one day we were already getting close to 4 pounds, right? Once he was gonna get to 4 pounds, like we were getting so close and we were like so happy to bring him home, the hospital called me and told me that there was a problem with him, that he was having problems eating, he was having problems like pooping, and they needed to get that checked. Well, yeah, there was something wrong with him. He was throwing up like yellow liquid. So
Mommy,
sorry guys.
No, keep it on. It's fine.
No.
Hello guys.
Sorry guys, my son had came in. So yeah, so that's how we found out then that he was sick. He wasn't able to poop, he wasn't able to eat, he wasn't able, oh, he kept throwing up yellow liquid. Yeah, so he was sick. So that's when we found out that he had right inguinal hernia. He had a hernia, and that's only fixed with surgery. That's only fixed with surgery, so he had to get surgery. So this was very hard for me because we were already like heading out, right? We were already like, okay, yes, everything's gonna be normal. We're gonna have our son in our house, and we're gonna get to enjoy our baby like a normal, you know, new parents would. So we were so happy, and then they give us this call. I was just waiting to bring him home, and then I get this call, and yeah, it was just hard. But thankfully, we tackled it. It was a right inguinal hernia. He had his surgery. Everything went well. After the surgery, we stood there for another maybe 2 weeks, maybe less. I don't remember that well, but we stood there. So yeah, so I was practically living there in the hospital with him. I did not leave. My husband will go visit me maybe like 3 times a week, and my mom will go visit me too, because sometimes she wouldn't work, so she would go with me and then come back home and everything. But I wouldn't want her to, because it was a little bit too far, and I didn't want her to be alone, you know. So yeah, so thankfully everything went well. We were able to take him home after 2 months and a half of everything all together, guys. So yes, I left off, and after 2 months and a half, we were able to take him home. He passed his car seat test and everything. And after we took him home, maybe like, I would say 2 months after, he was having the same issues again, which is like he was throwing up yellow liquid, he wasn't able to eat, and he wasn't able to poop. So again, I took him to the emergency, and then so they told me that what it seemed like he had was called a bowel obstruction, right? So when I guess that's when the babies are constipated and they're just not able to poop, eat, and they throw up. And that's what he had. They said that they were gonna try, that most likely what he had was a bowel obstruction. So he was gonna get cleaned out, I guess manually, because they, you know, I don't know what's it called, but they clean them with the tube through their, yeah, behind. They clean them. They were gonna try that, and if that worked, then it was perfect, because after that they gave me another option, which was after the first one, this one that I'm saying, and it was, I'm pretty sure it was like another operation. It was something more serious, because that's how the doctor made it seem to us when he talked to us. But he said, well, we're gonna try this first, and if this works and he's able to eat again and poop again, then that means he's good. That means that it was just, you know, a simple bowel obstruction. It's nothing more serious than that. So I was hoping that that's how it was, right? And thank God it was just that. So we stood there for maybe 4 days, 5 days, and then we were discharged. We came home, and we have never come back, guys. So finally we saw the light, we saw sunshine, we saw rainbows, and we were able to take him home and enjoy our baby as new parents. Yeah, but everything is just a learning journey, you know. And I feel blessed to have my son with us now. He's my handful, and he's my son, and I love him with all my heart. And yeah, so that was my story, guys. I hope you guys liked it. If I find any pictures, I will insert them at the end, of how like small he was, or I don't have a lot, honestly, but I would try to look for some. So yeah, that was my story, 31-weeker preemie baby. So hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.